XLM holders, welcome back to the Crypto ZX channel. Let's sit together and really analyze and take a look at what's happening with XLM and of course what we could be expecting as we are going into Wednesday morning. So looking across the board, a lot of green across the market, which of course is always nice to see. Obviously, I did mention this in my H-bar update and a lot of other updates if you did end up watching it. That is due to Bitcoin specifically, this move that we're seeing here. But if you're looking at XLM, it's up 1.3%, which again is nice to see. 29 cents as far as the price is concerned. We're down about 0.1% in Bitcoin comparative. Again, not a big surprise. Dominance is sitting really high. Bitcoin is on the verge of breaking towards an all-time high. But valuation at $9 billion, actually outpacing H-bar, which is quite interesting to see in the 24-hour trading volume at about $198 million. I seem to me like, Stellar and H-bar really have that battle going on as to, which one's really going to come at the top. But that is quite an interesting battle that they have going for themselves. But that is that in terms of, the numbers. But before we get into any further, as always, just a quick disclaimer, anything on this channel is not financial advice. Always do your own due diligence and research when you are investing in crypto. So if you're looking at the dominance here, guys, dominance is pretty much at 63.9%. We have actually retested 64.1% a few different times. So obviously haven't really seen the breakout, but obviously compared to the last, 1 week, we are obviously seeing a major spike in the dominance, but it kind of explains for itself. We are seeing Bitcoin really picking up steam. Like I said, very, very close to retesting an all-time high for the first time in about 5 months. So it is something very, very exciting, of course, for the market as a whole. But if you're looking at XLM here, again, a weekly time frame. Just a quick reminder for you guys as to what the historic price action really has been for XLM. We're seeing a very similar move every single time. This was the original cycle, second and third. Each cycle, you are starting to see the price, gets lower and lower. To be quite fair, obviously around this time, which a lot of people will completely forget, around here, this bull market, what was the difference? The major difference was that compared to these two cycles, the amount of coins that were in supply, were much, much, much lower compared to now what has been in supply. So right now we're looking at about a 31 billion in terms of supply. Back in the day, it used to be very, very little. So, of course, when you look at the prices, it is quite, interesting. It kind of makes sense. But I'm very, very impressed to what we have seen already for, XLM at 63.4 cents. And I do believe with the way things are heating up, a lot of analysts projecting that, altcoins are going to see really exciting moves sometime, in quarter 3 and quarter 4. Obviously, time is only going to tell. A lot of analysts, including myself, I am projecting something similar happening pretty much obviously going back and dating to the previous cycles and looking at the historic patterns, we should see something like that. And I believe we could actually end up seeing XLM breaking towards a new all-time high this time around, especially if dominance were to plunge very, very sharply down. I think that could really take, altcoins to a crazy level, especially utility projects. And of course, if Donald Trump introduces something for US-based projects, maybe something crazy happens that we are not even anticipating. Obviously speculating at the end of the day, but that is something that I am personally keeping in mind. But let's take a look at, XLM on an hourly perspective. So here we have it. XLM is obviously, trying to head towards the upside. You can see this for yourself. We have retested this level, a few different times. Obviously, May 12th, we went up to 33 cents since then. Since then, we have seen a retracement of, you could say, about 17.43%. Not bad, because obviously, if you look at it from this angle, let me share this with you guys. Look at this. We saw a 66.59% from April low. So nice, healthy correction, still in higher high, higher low. A lot of different altcoins are starting to show the similar pattern, which again, really gives you an understanding what's happening for the broader market. Right now, we are facing significant resistance for XLM. If it's able to break out, personally believe we could set a new monthly high, and that's how important this resistance really is. But one step at a time, pay very close attention to Bitcoin and the dominance, because dominance is still really high. And if it starts picking up steam, and let's say Bitcoin were to retrace down to 105K once again, we might see a little bit of a rejection, but in a grand scheme of things, so far so good. We'll let you know, obviously, what happens tomorrow. Let me know in the comments if you want to see more of these updates. Hit that red subscribe button, and we'll see you later in Crypto ZX, and peace out.